I'ma keep it a bean. Stick to the script, every scene. This from last year, but they clean. Say to say, I'ma take something else, but it's a winning team. Charlie Sheen, fam gang, the regime. I'm from Piney Green.
What's goody, Shellitronnn here, the most woke, no joke, and I'm back at it again with a brand new video. And this video right here is going to be a little bit different than what I usually do on this channel. Most of you guys watching this video right now are more familiar with my Carolina Panthers videos. I've been doing those for about over a year now, and every so often I'll get comments or messages or tweets or DMs, that kind of stuff, asking me what my thoughts are on the Hornets, asking what I think about this move, that move, asking what I think we should do in the future, talking about Michael. And lately I've been getting a lot of messages of people asking my opinion on Kemba Walker, my thoughts on, Klay Thompson, and the whole all-NBA third team thing. And at first, I was thinking, this is a Panthers channel, I don't want to really do all that kind of stuff. But then I thought, hold up, it's kind of like a slow period right now in the NFL year. Not much is really going on, and I heard from people over the last few months that there's not really anyone doing Hornets content on YouTube, which is kind of crazy to me. How is there no Hornets YouTuber at all? That's kind of wild to me. This just proves just how, I guess, small the media market is for Charlotte. That's not a big deal, though. This video right here is about the All-NBA third team, and I'm going to prove for 100% factuals why Klay Thompson did not deserve to be a third team All-NBA over Kemba Walker. And I think it's actually pretty obvious, maybe not off the top of your head, because you think to yourself, wait, Klay Thompson's a better basketball player than Kemba Walker. Why would he not be All-NBA third team? I'll explain why, and I'll get into, I guess, the more obvious reasons, the more eye test kind of things before I get to the stats. And it's kind of weird that, basketball's become more of a sport like baseball for some fans, where in baseball there's a lot of analytics on numbers, on the formulas, all that kind of stuff. And even now for basketball, fans who are just a step up from casual don't just care about the box score stats. Fans actually care about the second and third level analytics. So I'll get to that as well to prove my point here. But to start off just off top, let's go over the reasons why I think that Kemba Walker is a much more impactful player than Klay Thompson for their respective teams. And that's the big word there, impactful. Let's go over a few facts real quick. Kemba Walker is obviously the best player on his team and the most important player on his team on the Hornets. Name 5 Hornets players right now, off top. Name 7. Pencils up. Quiz is already done. You probably couldn't do it. You could name probably 8 or 9 players on the Warriors right now. But let me ask you a question right here. Is Klay Thompson the first option for scoring on his own team? No. Is he the second option for scoring on his own team? No, it's probably between Steph or KD. How do you want to flip it? It don't really matter to me. Then third is obviously Klay. But let's ask another question right here. How important to the team is Klay Thompson? Is he the first most important? Probably not. The second? No, it's probably those two same guys, KD and Steph. However you want to flip it. Is he even the third most important player on that team? Not scoring-wise, but overall importance and impact? I don't think so. I think that Draymond Green is actually a more important part, a bigger piece on the Warriors, their scheme, the way they play, the way they run, the heartbeat of that team. I'm talking about defensively, I'm talking about with the assists, I'm talking about decision making, I'm talking about dribbling. Draymond Green can dribble. He don't have handles, but he can dribble. Klay Thompson can't dribble and he don't have no handles. If Klay Thompson dribbles the ball, he puts that ball on the floor more than 5 times in one possession, you're in trouble. Now look, Klay has really great defense, and he's obviously one of the best shooters of all time, but you understand that he is the 4th most important piece on that team. You could replace Klay with someone who's probably, a little bit worse at three-point shooting and a little bit worse on defense, and they probably wouldn't be all that much worse for wear. You take Kemba Walker off the Hornets, they are a lottery team every single year. Okay, hold on, check it out. I know we've been going on for a minute on this video talking about how I think that Kemba is better than Klay, with impact-wise at least, impact on his team-wise, but I don't want to have the impression that I think that Klay is a bad player. Klay is obviously not a bad player, and if I had to draft a team right now, I had to create a team, everyone in the NBA is a free agent, and I had the very first pick, I had to choose between Klay and Kemba Walker, it'd be a very, very hard choice for me. I might go Klay, I would probably have to go Klay, but the thing about that is, I know that with my second pick, I'd have to get a shooter. Whether it's a point guard or a big shooter, Klay Thompson in his whole career has always been surrounded by at least 2 really good shooters. Over the past 3 years, it's been Steph and it's been KD. And luckily for him, he's had a ball handling point guard, so he doesn't have to put the ball on the ground so much. And Steph's obviously the best shooter of all time, and KD is probably one of the most efficient shooters of all time. But remember I said his whole career he's been around 2 good shooters. People forget, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, Draymond Green was shooting about 36% from three. Draymond Green wasn't always a terrible three-point shooter like he's been this year and part of like last year and whatnot. Draymond Green used to be a reliable three-point shooter. He wasn't like Klay Thompson. He wasn't like Steph Curry, but Draymond Green could shoot. They weren't just leaving him out like Ben Simmons like they do now. They weren't daring him to shoot like they are now. They had to close out on Draymond Green because he actually would and could shoot. We have not seen Klay Thompson on a team where there weren't two other pretty decent shooters around him. We've seen Kemba Walker on teams where, look, Kemba's been on some teams where you really couldn't name two or three other guys on the team if you tried to. Now, looking at the rosters for the Hornets and the Warriors, just think about this. How far down the Warriors roster would you have to get before you think to yourself, I would replace this guy with a player from the Hornets? I mean, would you replace anyone with Klay Thompson? Probably not. Draymond Green? Probably not. Steph? Obviously not. Iguodala? Probably not, honestly. Would you replace Shaun Livingston with someone who plays the same position on the Hornets? Probably not. Quinn Cook is a young piece there. You might think about maybe Malik Monk, maybe Marvin Williams, maybe Jeremy Lamb. But think about this. Quinn Cook's been shooting 40% from three and 47% from the field. He only gets 7 points a game, but he also only gets 14 minutes per game. Let's compare that to Jeremy Lamb and Marvin Williams. Jeremy Lamb shoots 35% from three, and he shoots 44% from the field. Marvin Williams shoots 36% from three and shoots 42% from the field. And those two guys score 15 and 10 points a game respectively, and they play double the minutes of Quinn Cook. Do you think Quinn Cook could have a better stat line than them if he actually played 28 minutes, 30 minutes a game? Probably, right? Probably. So honestly, Quinn Cook might have a little bit more value than those two guys if he actually got into the rotation. I mean, for him to get playing time, you got to sit Steph Curry, and you're not really going to sit Steph all that much. So we understand that even the backup point guard for the Warriors might be better than, some of the guys that are starting for the Hornets. You have to go to the ninth guy on the Warriors before you pick up a guy who starts for the Hornets. A guy whose name is obviously not Kemba Walker. He's leaving him and Klay out of the picture here. This is what Klay Thompson has to work with. You don't have to get double teamed, because if you get double teamed, who's guarding Steph? Who's guarding KD? How much of an impact on his team is Klay Thompson? I'll take it stat by stat. Kemba Walker, 25.6 points per game, 43% from the field, 36% from three. Klay Thompson, 21.5 points per game, 47% from the field, 40% from three. Now, he's 4% better from the field and from three than Kemba Walker. You think yourself, okay, he has less points, but he's a lot more efficient. And 4% isn't really, is that a lot more efficient? You tell me. But my question is, if he's more efficient than Kemba, why does he have less points per game? Why isn't he getting more shots up? And you know the reason why. You know the reason why Klay is not getting more shots up. It's because of the guy to his left and the guy to his right. All that help. There's a lot of help in that team. All right. So Kemba has 6 assists per game. Klay only had 2 assists per game. They both have 4 rebounds a game. Kemba had 1.2 steals a game. Klay had 1.1. No big difference there. Kemba had 2.6 turnovers a game, and Klay had 1.5 turnovers a game. And that's not a big deal because, Kemba is a point guard and Klay Thompson is a spot-up shooter who also has a post-up turnaround jumper. It's not really a post fade, but it's a post-move kind of shot. He's not really putting the ball on the ground all that much. But if Klay Thompson was putting the ball on the ground, that turnover number would go way, way up. Now, that is just box score statistics there. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty advanced analytics right here and talk about something that, might have a little more impact on knowing what these players' impact is on their actual team. The first topic we're going to go here with is defensive win shares, which is just the number of wins a player gets per season based off the defensive contributions. Kemba's at a 1.9, Klay's at 2.3. That's not that big of a difference. Now, that's not to say that Kemba Walker is as good or just a small difference away from being as good of a defender as Klay. That's to say that Klay's defensive efforts, although they are really, really good, have less of an impact on the outcome of the game than you would expect, to the point where there's only a small difference between him and Kemba Walker. Because obviously you know that the Golden State Warriors, their wins are based off offense. They do play really good defense, but Klay's defense isn't the reason they're winning these games. We know the reason why they're winning these games. And also, honestly, if Klay wasn't on those guys, do you think Draymond Green could play as good of defense on those guys as Klay? Probably, right? But let's go to the full picture here, the full perspective there, and the full context. And total win shares, Kemba's at 7.4, Klay is at 5.3. So when you put together defense and offense, the win shares they have, Kemba is 2.1 whole points higher than Klay Thompson. And that tells you he has a bigger impact on the wins his team gets than Klay Thompson. That's just pure facts. That's not opinion. That's not me implying something, me inferring something. That's pure facts. Kemba has a bigger impact on his team winning than Klay Thompson. That's how it is. But let's go a bit deeper here. Let's talk about BPM, which is box score plus minus, and all that is points per 100 possessions over an average player on an average team. Kemba Walker's BPM was 3.3. Klay Thompson's BPM was negative 0.8. Let me repeat that for you. Points per 100 possessions over an average player on an average team. Kemba Walker had a 3.3 and Klay had a negative 0.8. Let that sink in. Now, before I get too deep into all that, there are some people who don't like BPM, and for a good reason. It only takes into account, the box score. It's worth more talking about, older players back in the day when they only had the box score to work with. A much more respected analytic stat to go by is VORP, which does take into account BPM. There's a lot more math and formulas to it and whatnot. And VORP is points per 100 team possessions over a replacement level player on an average team. Kemba's VORP is 3.9 and Klay Thompson's VORP is 0.8. So it's still a really big gap between Kemba Walker and Klay Thompson, and all that means, all it's talking about is impact on their team. If you replace Kemba Walker with a replacement level player on an average team, the Hornets do a lot worse. If you replace Klay Thompson with a replacement level player on an average team, the Warriors play about the same. I mean, negative 0.8 and 0.8. That's business as usual. You're swinging around the same kind of number, around that zero mark where it's not really no impact, but the productivity of the team probably doesn't see that much of a swing. You probably lose maybe 5-10 more games, probably around 5 to 7 more games. Now, for some of you guys who, you might understand win shares and that kind of stuff, but BPM and VORP, what's all these words and numbers and all this kind of stuff? Let me put it to you this way, in a more simpler way. Since 2006, so the last 12 years, the number one ranked player in VORP has been the MVP every single year except for 4 years. And each of those 4 years, it's only been one player, and that's LeBron James. So you can obviously tell that VORP is an important statistic. Klay Thompson's not a bad player. But if you can hear all these facts and understand that, look, Kemba is both the best player and the most impactful player on the Hornets, and Klay Thompson is the third option and the fourth most impactful player on his team, how do you give it to him over Kemba Walker? And I didn't even say a single word about the whole first month and a half, 2 months of the season when Klay Thompson could not hit a shot. But that's all I got for you today, man. That's how I feel about it. How do you guys feel about it? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that bell. And you already know what to do with that like button.
Cheers to you, appreciate the chance. Been told y'all I been the man. Been told y'all I had the gift. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Real ones gonna recommend. Count this as another win.